Alright boys, today is a bittersweet day for me. I am finally acknowledging that there is a new sheriff in town. My beautiful, beautiful deagles, still my favorite weapon in the game. They've taken a bit of a sidestep. Let's just say the BFR has completely taken my finals gameplay by storm. This thing is, this thing cannot be beat right now. When it came to the nerf with the deagles, it wasn't the biggest thing in the world on paper. It's literally just effective range nerf, which was fine because I was playing this more at around 20-30 meters, so it didn't even affect the way I usually play the deagles. But there's something going on with that bloom. This change to the deagle hasn't really ruined it for me. I still drop some good kill games with the deagles, but the BFR doesn't have any bloom. And that means where I point the gun, that's where the bullet goes. And that's pretty important for a gun, you'd think. Let's go ahead and get into some of the pros with this bad boy. It is the most unforgiving piece of metal in this entire game. The sniper's bad, sure, but the reload, it's a magazine reload. You can reload 6 shots, there you go, like you split. This BFR, dude, holy crap, the reload. I said on my Season 8 opening video that it was worse than the model. It isn't worse than the model, but it's close. It is very close. This thing is super slow. It is 1 at a time, so you can just cancel the reload and keep opening fire. If you're 3 bullets in, 4 bullets in, even 1 bullet in, you can take another shot, put another shot in, shoot again, put another shot in, shoot again until the person you're shooting is dead. That is something you can and should do if you're out of ammo. If you're caught in the open with this thing without any bullets in the gun, you're basically as good as dead. Bring a dome shield, barricade, mesh shield, just to protect yourself so you can get to cover. That little tech of loading a bullet into the gun and then shooting is probably the most used mechanic with this gun that you're going to be using. Because if you're like me, you're going to be missing some shots. Well, first of all, that's a big old no bueno with this gun specifically. This is a very unforgiving gun, but if you're hitting your shots, it is a very rewarding, extremely rewarding, some might say. If you can hit your shots, use it. If you can't hit your shots, try to, so you could then just indulge in the majesty of this weapon here. Let's get into some more pros instead of like a slap in the face 1 second, a pat in the back the next. The damage is not unique to the heavy class. The KS does more base damage than the BFR, but the KS isn't nearly as good as this bad boy. First of all, the damage headshot multiplier is nearly 50%. The base damage is 98 on the body within 30 meters, so not going over the damage drop off, which we will get into, but it's not very important with this weapon at all. Body shot, 98 damage. Headshot, 147. You know what that means? Winch combos. Just for the light. If you get a headshot and then winch, easy kill. It's so much fun to kill someone with a winch because that's not what a winch is supposed to do. I think that's a lot of fun. But you could also just winch in first, and then you can get a easy headshot, which isn't easy if you're trying it all by yourself, but there's actually a pretty good video by Comes and Combo over here. He managed to find a way to pretty much guarantee a headshot on a light. Check it out. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description for that bad boy. And while you're down there, go ahead and, I don't know, maybe like the video, maybe subscribe. We're trying to hit at least 700 this month. I know it went up from a couple videos ago, but that's because you guys are about to crush the 600 sub goal. So, well, I'm going to have to up it. I'm going to have to challenge you guys. Winch combos are going to be a little harder for medium and especially heavy. When it comes to those bad boys, those 2 classes, you're going to want to play a little bit further back, especially the heavy, because, well, the BFR is a heavy weapon, and you know who else is going to be using it? Most likely that other heavy is also going to be having one of those bad boys. You better hope that you have better aim, because if they don't have good aim and you do, easy win. But if it's vice versa, they're going to absolutely destroy you. This thing destroys anything, absolutely anything. This is basically just a pocket sniper for the heavy class. Is it as powerful as the regular sniper? No, of course not. I mean, light is always going to have the best weapons in the game, but that doesn't mean the BFR isn't good. This thing, I have a feeling this is going to be a good meta pick, not the close qualifiers, because, you know, Empire kind of banned that. The BFR is going to have a place in the meta this season. Since the LH1 also got a buff, there you go. The BFR is going to try to combat the LH1 a little bit. It's going to be fun to see. I also have seen this kind of be mentioned more as a con, if anything. The hip fire isn't as bad as some people are making it out to be. So I think it's actually semi-reliable within 5 meters or so, and that is going to be where your aim is going to filter a little bit depending on how good you are with close quarters combat. If you crouch right before you shoot, it's basically pinpoint accuracy. Not anything under 10 meters, then it's going to be pinpoint accuracy as long as you're somewhere near the target. Your crosshair is over top of the body, you're going to get a hit. If you're further past it, that's when you're going to want to scope in. But honestly, anything over 5 meters, you're going to want to ADS with this thing. Even though the hipfire is better than I thought it was going to be for a big old sniper pistol like this, that doesn't mean you want to rely on it too much. You're going to want to have good aim with this weapon. even one missed shot, let's say it's a 90% chance I'm going to hit it with hip fire. Sometimes I'm going to want to scope in just a little bit more to amplify that percentage just to make sure I get the shot off, because missing a shot with this thing is so unforgiving. It is so bad. Not only because this isn't like a double action revolver like the revolver for the medium class, it's a single action revolver. You got to manually pull the pin back. It's basically like a shotgun. It's like the KS, except instead of rechambering the shell, you're just pulling the hammer back. That means it's its own separate animation. So let's say you're trying to pull out a gadget or you grab onto a carryable, you're going to want to pull the hammer back on the BFR before you pick anything else up, because when you do throw the gadget and then you switch back to your weapon, there's the animation again. You're going to have to pull the hammer back before you can shoot again. So it's better to have the hammer already pulled back before you grab anything, before you switch to any other gadget, just so you can get to that bullet, that damage, killing your enemy faster, and so you don't die. And you know, not dying is pretty important in my opinion. So I did say previously in the video, the damage fall off for this weapon isn't going to be as big of a deal as, I don't know, let's say something like the Deagles, where it used to be the sniper weapon for the heavy class. This thing has a very broad damage fall off range from 30 meters to 45 meters, which is fine. I prefer something more of a strict damage fall off range, even if it was like 35 to 40, even though it has technically a shorter optimized range. It makes it easier to know where you should be positioning yourself with the heavy, as a heavy with the BFR, because you don't have that mobility you do with medium. With like, you have to rely on those guys with the gateway, with the zip line, with the jump pad. Having this more broad range, I feel like is going to ice things up. You're gonna have to know the weapon a lot more than you would any other weapon. Like let's say the Deagles. The Deagles have a very it's not broad. It's not compared to the BFR. It's a very narrow damage fall off range, which I think is why I like the Deagle so much. I know where to position myself and I know where I can attack from and get the maximum amount of damage from this thing. But with the BFR, all I know is that if I'm over 45 meters, I'm doing less damage, and if I'm under 30 meters, I'm doing less damage. So I got to experiment with more games, more practice in the practice range, just to learn how to use this thing more efficiently. I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I still wanted to point that out because it's so broad. It kind of just hurts my perception of like how much damage I need to do at this range to kill an enemy, but that's not going to be nearly as bad for other people as it has been for me. That's especially more prevalent when you're fighting lights at a range of over 35 meters. I want to say, I'm just eyeballing it really. That's when you no longer two-shot lights. And dude, it's funny, they got rid of the pike because it was a light killer, and then they added in another light killer in the heavy class just to terrorize lights even more, and I love it. It's awesome. They gotta know their place. They gotta know they're the second-class citizens of the finals. Isn't that right, boys? Who's with me? I do feel for the lights, not just because they just got pretty much nothing from this update from this season. Sure, they got the LH1 back, which is fun and all, but it's nothing compared to a new weapon. No new gadgets, no nothing. There's just a buff for one weapon. 93R got nothing added to it. Nothing was added to it. Nothing at all. And I do feel bad for them. I really do. Even though they are inferior. Joking. I'm joking, guys. But this is how you want to play with the BFR when it comes to these three different classes. With lights, play aggressive. You have a lot more health than them. Use that health. Sure, they have more efficient weapons overall, but this thing two-shots them. It doesn't matter how efficient their weapons are. Shoot him in the head, melee him. Shoot him in the body, shoot him again. Shoot him with a winch after you hit him with a headshot. Winch him, hit him with a headshot. Melee them 4 times. There you go, you win. These guys are like overdone cookies. They're so brittle, they don't know how to live past 30 seconds. They're nutcases, bro. Trigger-happy weirdos. I'm kidding. Kinda. But that's how you want to play with the BFR against lights. Aggressive. Throw down a dome shield, they don't shoot you, you shoot them, bam, they're dead. Play aggressive with them, hit your shots, you're going to win against the lights. If you are running a lot of different weapons, if they're going to be running a double barrel, play a little bit further back, and then you just two-shot them within 30 meters, bam, you're good. If they are running SMGs, just make sure to utilize a little bit of sliding, jumping, whatever. Hit more shots than them, you're going to win pretty much every single time. Mediums are a little bit more clunky to fight against. Sure, there are 3 shots to the body, but if you do hit that one headshot and then a body shot, it's a minute amount of damage you have to do, and I think it's almost as unsatisfying as hitting a headshot on a medium with a sniper on the light class and not killing them. Sure, it's balanced, but is it fun? No. But that, understandably, is how it should be. So 2 headshots, 3 body shots, or a headshot, body shot, body shot. Aim for the body when you're fighting against mediums, because a headshot isn't going to do as much good as it would for a heavy or for a light in some cases. Now, in my experience, heavy is where it gets a little bit interesting. The BFR is on the heavy class, which everyone should know by now. But that means if you're going to be using it, most of the time the other person is using the BFR. There's still some people who don't want to use the weapons. They're hard stuck on their weapons, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not most people. Most people are using the brand new spanking weapon that is also doubling as something that's really, really good. So you got to watch out for those. Utilize, I've been using a mesh shield a lot. I know a lot of people are saying the winch is the way to go 100%. And sometimes, like, you have guys like Apple who are also running the charge and slam. Both very good, but I'm still a mesh guy by heart. There's nothing that they can do to stray me away from mesh as my primary specialization. And I think it works really well with the BFR, especially when you run out of ammo. If you get to that weird predicament with the BFR where you're running out of ammo and you're in the middle of the open, just from bad positioning, pull out the mesh shield, a dome shield, specifically a mesh shield because you can walk around with it. It's more portable. Then just run to cover and then you're good. And also they'll be focusing on you while your teammates can get a little bit of a flank there. Hopefully your medium guy is running a P90, just spray him down. There you go, you win. I wanted to point out a couple other things before I wrap this video up. Just nothing too crazy, but just some details that I thought were really cool. The first one is especially being quite nice indeed. So the casings of the ammo that you're using. So what happens with an actual gun, the hammer ignites the casing, the gunpowder inside of the bullet. And then that's what propels the actual tip of the bullet to actually go into the flesh of your enemies to kill them. Pretty cool, huh? So this actually happens. It pokes a little hole into a little thinner piece of metal. That is what actually sparks the gunpowder and makes it go boom. And you can actually see this little hole when you are dispelling of the cartridges that have already been shot. You can see the tiny little hole at the center of the bullet, and I thought that was a really cool thing they added, and I just wanted to point that out in case anyone else just didn't notice it. I think it's just a really cool attention to detail by the developers part. But the other thing I really wanted to mention wasn't really a ooh, look at that, that's a cool little detail that they didn't have to add in, but they kind of had to add in an iron sight. And I think the iron sights on this weapon is probably the best iron sight we've seen in the finals, even overriding the AKM. And I am a big advocate AKM enjoyer for the iron sights. I don't use a scope with it. I think it's great by itself. Same said with the BFR. The BFR's iron sights is a lot of fun. I don't see any real reason to even use a sight with it because it's just so clean looking. A little pyramid with a little bit of little dot on top of it all. I mean, it tells you where to shoot. There you go. Why would you need a scope if it's so clean looking like that? But other than that, that about wraps it up. Make sure you guys do all the regular YouTube stuff. Sub, like the video, even comment your opinions. And yes, I love the comments down there. Keep them coming. The best part of the video, right there, right down there. You guys. But you guys have a good day, right?